guys, fantastic news. We have survived and made it to day 2 of a live poker tournament. Chips are in the bag. Heading into day 2 of the main event, the $600 main event here at Run It Up Reno. 140,000 in chips. We're taking into day 2. I'm a little bit wiped out, so I'm probably just gonna go crash, but let's get one hand in there. Probably my favorite hand of the day that was at least the most interesting. So we'll take a look. I think this was the 300, 500 with a 500 big blind ante level. Not exactly positive with these sizings. I do have all the cards correct. That's the important part. So I looked down at King Queen offsuit in early position and raised it up to 1100. Only the big blind makes the call. So heads up to a flop of 8, 7, deuce, 2 clubs. Checks it over to me, and I don't want to just check down king high, so I put in a C bet with my 2 overs, and he makes the call. Turns a good card though. It's an offsuit king, and when he checks it over to me, time to go for value now. I think I bet somewhere around 2,700 here, and once again he makes the call. River's an offsuit deuce, so pretty safe run out, and when he checks it over to me, I think I want to go for more value because I could be repping the king with some sort of a flush draw or straight draw on this run out. So I think I can get 3 streets of value here versus some worse hands. So I put out another bet of somewhere around 5,700, I think, and my opponent doesn't think for too long before jamming all in. And really tough spot there because he could have plenty of missed draws. He could also have like deuce X of clubs and have rivered trips. He could have potentially slow played a set, but I'm not sure how often that would be the case. Such a draw heavy board, I think he might put in a check raise, at least some percentage of the time. So aside from that, I'm not too sure what else I am losing to. I do not have a club in my hand, so I think that being the case, have to lean towards call in that situation, even though I really feel like there's not too many players that are going to be playing $600 tournaments that are going to be finding this line with a bluff. I think often if they're going to have some flush draws or straight draws or combo draws, they're going to put in a check raise on earlier streets, or they're just going to check call and play pretty passively. When it comes to a river situation, there's just not that many players that you're going to find pulling off the all-in check raise river bluff for their tournament life. So I don't completely hate an exploitative fold with that in mind, but I think with this very particular hand, with no club in my hand, I think it's just too strong to let go. And I said I don't feel like you're bluffing, but I don't see how I can just fold here. So toss in the call, and he shows us 7-3 of diamonds, turning the 7 into a bluff. So that one comes our way. We would have been left with somewhere in the neighborhood of like 10,000 in chips, I think, but we stack up nicely there. Shortly after that, lose a flip, lose a couple hands, lose a flip, and was actually pretty short stacked not too long after that. I think my low point was somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 or 17,000. Managed to get a couple double ups pretty quickly. 5s in against ace queen and won that one. Got 10s in versus 9s and won that one. One more interesting hand towards the end of the evening came when there was a late position raise, and I looked down at ace 5 offsuit in the big blind, and I defend versus a min raise. Heads up to a pretty ragged flop. I check it and my opponent checks back. Turn is a 9, which I don't think should change too much. So when I check it and my opponent puts out a bet this time, trying to find a hand where he could have a 9 here that wouldn't bet the flop. He could for sure have some better aces. Maybe he's just checked back with ace king or ace queen. A hand like that, just taking it to showdown, since it can often be the best hand. But I think there's some other hands that he could have as well. Maybe he picked up some equity with the queen jack, or maybe he is trying to just take it down with the king queen. Don't want to give up ace high just yet, so I go ahead and make the call. And the river's an ace. I check it over to him and he puts out another bet. So if we're gonna call on that turn card, we're just gonna have to call on this river card 100% of the time. So after he puts out a bet there on the river, I toss in the call, and he says good call. So always happy to hear those 2 words when calling down with a hand such as this one. Not exactly super strong, but gets the job done versus king queen, and that is the gist of the excitement heading into day 2. I'm planning on not doing too much of anything tonight. Been grinding away here at Run It Up Reno. Cash games haven't been working out for us. Tournaments haven't really been working out for us. We find a min cash in the win the button tournament, so we are on the scoreboard, but let's see if we can keep it rolling here for the main event in day 2 on Sunday. Let's do this real quick. Christy.
What's up?
We made it to day 2.
Day 2, yes! It feels so good to bag.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Man, there's nothing like putting the chips in the bag.
Yeah, but I don't have as many as you do. You look like you crushed it.
Yeah, but you just need, if you double up once, then you have as many as I do.
That's true.
Yeah, it's so nice to bag it up, and then we even have a day off, so we can just chill tomorrow.
Chill. Okay, cool.
Good luck tomorrow.
Boom.
Here we go, guys. It is day 2 of the main event. Today's Sunday, almost noon o'clock. Managed to get a pretty good night's sleep last night. Sat down at a cash game around 10 or 10:30 and managed to pick up at like midnight after winning like $270. So we're gonna get after it here. We got 140,000 coming back to the 2,400 big blind. So pretty decent amount of chips to work with here. Surely there's a bunch of short stacks that wanted to make it into day 2 and will be battling and knocked out along the way here early on. We'll see. I have a big stack on my left, on my direct left. Everybody else, I believe I cover. So kind of an awkward seat. Not gonna get out of line here early on and, you know, avoid any bubble disasters as we've seen happen in the past. All right, none of that stuff, none of that nonsense. Let's go, let's get to battle. Let's do this. All right, guys, we're on the exact money bubble here. We are playing 113 players. 112 of us will make the money. So again, nothing too crazy here on the bubble.
All right, congratulations, you are all in your money.
All right, guys, we did it. We made it to the money. There are 112 people left now. So I think I have somewhere around 25 big blinds. The blinds just went up to 5K big blind. I haven't counted my chips in a little while, so I'm not exactly sure. But chances are we'll be all in relatively soon. But yeah, we made the money. 2 for 2 on Run It Up main events. All right, guys, it is the first break within the money here. Just wrapped up the 2,500, 5,000 level, heading into 3,000, 6,000 level. Down to 85 players. We started with 687 players. Had a pretty interesting hand in that last level there, where there was an early position raise, made it 12,500. I looked down at pocket nines off of like a 25 big blind stack. I had seen this player open pretty wide on the button, but not really getting too out of line for early position. So I don't know, seems like there's some different options on the table there, but I just decided to flat the pocket nines like a typical cash game player, and everyone else folds. So we go heads up to a flop, and we flop ourselves an overpair on an 8-high board. 2 clubs, and we do have one of the clubs. So after he bets 15,000 on the flop, I go ahead and call pretty standard. The turn brings the jack of clubs, so the front door flush arrives. He checks it over to me, and I guess since I have a club, I decided to check it back. I'm trying to take this hand to showdown, and I guess not too worried if a club rolls off, and worried less about protecting from overcards. Not exactly sure if that's the super ideal play. I think another route would be to bet small and maybe fold out some offsuit ace-king type hands and just take the pot down there if possible. But I decided to check it back, and on the river, a 4th club peels off. He bets 21,500, and I don't think I can do anything other than make the call here. So that's what I do. I go ahead and call with a flush, and he shows us pocket kings with the king of clubs. So I don't think there's gonna be too much that I could do to lose any less money, aside from maybe betting small on the turn and then hoping the river goes check check and I just show down. But obviously if I jam pre-flop, he's gonna call. If I do anything else on the flop, he's gonna call, etc., etc. So have to lose some money there. Not too much else happened. Later on I did jam pocket queens from under the gun with like 11 big blinds left, and the big blind calls with ace jack offsuit, and he had slightly less than me. So after the pocket queens hold up, we knock that player out and we get pretty much all the money back that we just lost in the previous hand. All right, so battling here. Yeah, 85 players left. We'll see. We're gonna need to find a double up here. We got about 15 or 16 big blinds, something like that. I think I have just under 100K, and blinds will be 3,000, 6,000 with a 6,000 big blind ante. Let's see if we can find some more spots to get some more chips.
Probably ahead. Have King Jack or something?
You know, 60K on it. Pretty crazy. I guess it's possible.
You had 2 blinds?
No, yeah.
So what?
There's not a lot of hands you can have there. You gotta
guess.
figure it out. There's not a lot. Obviously didn't pull 2 pairs.
Alright guys, as you can see, all these tournament tables behind me still happening, and I am sitting here far away from them. That can only mean one thing: Busto from the Run It Up Reno main event. It was a wild ride. There was several all-ins, some crazy levels that happened there, some crazy hands. I managed to find a double up with ace-8 of diamonds versus pocket nines, blind versus blind. That one worked out for us, got us up to 30 big blinds. Very shortly after that, we got ace-jack all-in versus king-queen, and we lost that one. Grinded hard for a while, and wasn't finding too many cards to play with. And blinds are going up, stack is dwindling. Find ace-10 offsuit and get that all in versus pocket queens, and we win that one. But finally, folds around to me after blinds have gone up once again. I have about 10 big blinds, maybe even less. Find ace-8 suited on the button, ship that all in, and the small blind calls the queen-9 offsuit, and it's not to be. Finds a queen on the flop and another one on the river. Busto. It was a good run. You always want to, you know, win those big prizes when you make a deep run. It's tough. There's not too many happy places in a tournament unless you get down to maybe like the final table. Even then, I think you're still gonna have your eyes on the bigger prize. But what can you do? I'm a cash game player predominantly. Still learning my way around the tournament ring, so to speak. We made it down to the final 5 tables, so can't be too disappointed about our results here. Ran out of cards there in the end. Was looking at lots of 4 deuce offsuits, 8-3 offsuits. Yeah, just not a lot to speak of. Whatever, these things happen in tournaments. So anyway, that's a wrap. Might go head back to the cash games, might go to the editing booth, might go fly the drone. We'll see. If anything interesting happens in the cash games, I will report to you either in this vlog or the next vlog or something, I don't know. There'll be another vlog though either way.